Hey, welcome back. Anyways, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Live with CDP podcast, season 3, episode 1. After a week off, I'm back this week with 3 podcasts, and I'm looking forward to speaking to my guest tonight, Lauren Brill. She's the founder and CEO of the Unsealed, and she's also a former sports anchor reporter in Buffalo, Cleveland area as well. And just give me a 1 minute and I will bring Lauren on. And I'm like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. And even though I didn't do any podcasts last week, I was busy getting guests for the rest of February and into March now as well. So just give me one moment, guys, and I'm going to bring on my friend Lauren. And I really appreciate her coming on. This is her second time. I think I had her on in July. So just 1 second. I'm going to bring on Lauren Brill, the founder of the Unsealed. Hey, Lauren, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, I'm good. How are you? Oh, there we
go. Good. Thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you for having me. I love coming on with you.
Well, thank you. And like I was mentioning, even though I took last week off, the first time in 2 years, I took a week off of podcasting. Wow. I was still working away on lining up guests for February and March now.
I know how that goes. Goes.
Yeah, it is a full-time job doing a podcast. Like even a podcast, just booking people's schedule, and then sometimes people have to reschedule and all that as well.
Absolutely.
So, but how was your day?
My day was great. Just working away. I wrote a story. We have writing contests that one I have to go over and look at the entries, and then we have 2 more on our way that I'm promoting now that are due this month, and then the following. Actually, the other one is due in April. So promoting those as well.
And I was going to ask you, do you have any guests lined up for this Thursday night, or are you still working on that?
So I'm hoping it's the person that I'm writing a story with right now. I'm just waiting for him to read it, so I will know a little bit more in a day.
Okay, definitely. And your last guest was you did a great job with Hugh Jackson as well.
Yeah, we had Hugh Jackson on last week, and our show is a little different than most podcasts. Our shows, we actually allow our community to come on the show at the same time, ask questions, talk to the people that we bring on. So people are actually able to come on, ask Hugh Jackson questions about his time at the Browns and his time in the NFL and his opinion on the Rooney Rule and Brian Flores and things of that nature. So it was really productive. And it's just a cool experience for our community.
Definitely. And I like the fact that you do that because you get everybody involved, more interactive with your guests in that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I maybe should look at doing that with my podcast at some time too. With StreamYard, I can bring up to like 10 people on my podcast.
Yeah, it's great. Then people get to be interactive. I think they listen a little bit more closely. I think it's exciting for them, especially some of the guests that they otherwise wouldn't have access to.
Definitely. And I apologize because I texted it a lot that night, but I just when your guests speaking at, I just think of questions to ask and all that.
We love people to be engaged because even if I can't ask all the questions, sometimes they see the questions in the box and it's good to know that people are engaged and they're listening. And then sometimes they are able to answer the questions without me even having to ask them. So that's really great too. So I love the engagement. I love that you ask a lot of questions, and I love that you make comments in the comment box. It just makes it a more fulfilling experience for everybody.
Well, definitely. And I was glad to be a part of it. And then you had Tim Graham on, who I befriended on social media through your Zoom on your Unsealed, and he's great to talk to as well.
Yeah, Tim's another great guest. We've had him on before as well, and he is, of course, a great NFL writer. Has been in the business for years and able to give people a perspective and insight that they otherwise couldn't get.
And like you said, with this business, I'm making a lot of contacts, but also I've also made a lot of friends with this as well.
Yeah, it's a great way to connect with people. And we're actually building out the company so that it's also a social network. And so you'll be able to even interact with our other community members even more. They'll have a profile. You'll be able to message them. You'll be able to respond to their letters, and you'll be able to write letters and really interact with people and pick the groups and topics you want to talk about, and find people who relate to your challenges and your struggles or your dreams and your ambitions. So it's going to become even more interactive, even more of a way to connect with people.
How many years now have you been doing the Unsealed?
2
Wow.
years.
Time
Yeah,
time goes by quick. So you
I
basically
know,
started.
it's flying.
So
It's
you
flying.
basically started the Unsealed the same time I started doing my podcasting.
Yeah, I started it just before the pandemic, about 6 months. So
Very
it's 2.5 years.
okay. For me, it was March 2020. So it's like,
Yeah,
where
so
does the
mine was a
time
little
go?
bit before that. Mine was
But before that,
initially like had the idea for it before we even started it, but we officially launched the site July of 2019, but it didn't really become a business until December of 2019.
yeah. And people don't realize even if it's a digital business, it's still a lot of work. You have to put in a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
work and
I
a
mean,
lot of
I work more
hours.
now than I've ever worked before.
But it's not really work. It's something that you enjoy, a passion.
It's a little both.
Well,
It's a
yes,
passion for sure, but it's a lot of work. But I
yes.
love doing it, but it's still work.
It's just like with this, the podcasting. I love doing this, and I'm back doing my camera work for the
Oh yeah,
hockey team here.
congratulations.
So I love doing that. I missed it for a year and a half. So, but the producer's quite happy with my work. So I'm lucky. I get to do behind the camera and behind the mic at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's absolutely great.
And I'm getting experience, and that's the big thing too with the podcast and the camera work is get experience. People are like, you're not getting paid, but sometimes experience is just as valuable, or if not more, than getting paid for it.
I mean, I did internships when I was really young, and I would agree with that. Getting your foot in the door is very important. Getting experience is very important. But even more than that, it's the connections you make with people in the business who may now check out your podcast because you're working with them. And then they may say, hey, we really like this. Maybe you could do something with us. And so the connections are really critical, and just networking and meeting people. So I think that's a huge part of it too.
Definitely. And one of the guys from Rogers TV, one of the producers, he actually made my opening intro video for me,
See,
and he
there you
didn't
go.
even charge me. He didn't even
Oh,
charge me
that's
at
nice.
all. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much.
That's awesome. And yeah, and that's what it's all about, meeting people, having people support you, you support them, and growing and evolving and building your dream together.
Definitely. So, before we get into some questions about the on sale, I'm just going to give you two quick questions about football, and
All right, what you
one I
got?
was for football. Just quickly, who's your prediction for Super Bowl 56 between the Rams and Bengals, and who
Yeah,
wins the
so I
Super
already
Bowl?
like failed with my Super Bowl prediction. I said whoever wins the Bills Chiefs game is going to win the Super Bowl. So obviously that didn't pan out because the Chiefs lost to the Bengals. So like I want to go with the Bengals now because I thought the Chiefs were going to win. But I kind of want the Rams to win because of the whole story behind Matt Stafford and his wife Kelly Stafford, who had cancer, and the overcoming of adversity and that piece of it. So who I want to win, I think maybe the Rams, but who I think will win, I think the Bengals. But we'll see. My prediction so far wasn't right, so I don't know how much weight my prediction has.
I'm going to give my prediction on my podcast tomorrow night because I have Ken Bradley from the Athletic coming
Okay.
on, and I'm going to do it then. So he'll be on tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to make everybody
Okay.
wait till 5 o'clock tomorrow night for my prediction. He's a busy guy with writing for 4 NFL teams.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That is a
Yeah,
lot of writing.
definitely. So
It's
I got
hard
to
to keep
cross.
up with one team.
Yeah, I got to cross my fingers too because his schedule with being Super Bowl week could be a little crazy. So I told him if we need to change the time, that's fine too. And I'm really one thing I've worked with my guests on here, including yourself too, is to be
Yeah.
flexible with my guest schedule as well.
Yeah, no, and everyone's busy, and everyone is trying to make the most of their day. So that's definitely the way to go.
Okay. And then my last question I want to ask you about the NFL. Just quick thoughts on the retirements of Big Ben Roethlisberger and, of course, Tom Brady.
I mean, I think we're seeing a new generation of quarterbacks now. So they're the older generation. They had their time. I'm a little bit more of a Tom Brady admirer than a Ben Roethlisberger for several reasons, but we won't get into that. Tom Brady, I think he really set his mark not just on football, but um, he on our culture. He became, I think, more of a cultural icon than most other athletes. Not all. I mean, there's other sports I could probably name a few, but Tom Brady also was a guy who, in his combine, was considered the worst performing quarterback ever in a combine. Up to that point, he wasn't a top pick by any stretch. I think he was a 5th-round pick. You could
Six
quote
round,
sixth
six
round
round
pick.
pick.
Yeah, they had the documentary, the Brady Five. And then he didn't come in and start right away. Someone got hurt, and then he came in, and then he didn't give back the job. And so I think there's a very much a Cinderella story with Tom Brady, and I think that he had an incredible career, but I also think he set an example for perseverance and resilience. And given what the Unsealed is all about, I really respect his story. I respect his hustle. But both quarterbacks will, go down in history as some of the best quarterbacks there are. And the quarterback is such an interesting position because there's so few people in the world who can do it well.
Definitely.
And who can do it at the level they did it, and for so many years. So I think that they had their time and they really made their mark. And now we're seeing a new generation of quarterbacks come in. Josh Allen,
Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of someone else on the tip of my tongue. Pat Mahomes. Joe Burrows. Yeah, we're seeing this new generation of young, competitive quarterbacks that are really stepping up and making for themselves and competing for that GOAT title. So I think it's a cool time for quarterbacks, and I think it's just the passing of a torch.
And I also think Brady's 7 Super Bowl record is going to be safe for a long time because there's, like you mentioned, Lauren, there's so many great quarterbacks, and every year there's going to be upsets. So it's going to be hard for Allen, Mahomes to win 2, 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls. Yes, definitely. So quick Brady story. I was at his first preseason game on Monday, July 31st, 2000 at Canton, Ohio. The Patriots Niners Hall of Fame game. What I remember most about it, besides Tom Brady, first ever NFL game, is I ended up having food poisoning. And my friend Todd, I almost had to go to the hospital, but he's like, no, we came all the way from Canada, so he dragged me to the game. So I had to watch the game, not feeling 100%. Obviously, I got through it. But what I remembered is a skinny kid named Brady was the 4th-string quarterback after Bledsoe, John Freeze, Michael Bishop, who ended up playing in the CFL, and then Brady came in the second half, and he picked apart the Niners defense that night, and that's what I remember. I was at his first game.
That is pretty cool. That is definitely very, very cool. Not the food poisoning part, but to be in the beginning of such an incredible career and see where it started is definitely interesting.
Yeah, I think even Tom Brady would have a laugh about, you went to my first game with food poisoning. And it was like, it wasn't easy. But my friend ended up getting Ken Dorsey's autograph, who's now the Buffalo Bills. I believe he's their new offensive coordinator. They promoted him since Brian Dable left. So, but yeah, I still have the ticket stub for that game too. So
that's amazing.
And the one thing about Brady, like him or hate him, he had to work for everything. In Michigan Wolverines, he was the number 3 guy.
He wasn't a starter in Michigan either.
No, definitely. So he had to work for everything he was given, and that's what I'm trying to do too.
He had that chip on his shoulder.
Definitely.
I think he still has a chip on his shoulder. I think it's kind of like Jordan, like he has that as a kind of a motivator.
Definitely. And that's what I'm trying to do too with doing my podcast, because at my age, everyone's like, oh, you're too old. I'm almost 50. And then I didn't take broadcasting in school. So I'm trying to do this the unconventional way to get into the radio industry.
That takes courage, and it's really admirable.
So, and I realize too, I'm gonna probably get some no's and rejections, but like I said, Lauren, to
We
you
all do.
before, I'm not gonna give up on this.
You shouldn't. We all get no's and rejections, so just keep going.
Definitely, definitely.
See where
And
it takes you.
I just got a comment for one of my friends, Dave Harris. Great stuff, Chris. He's gonna probably put my podcast on his network as well. So, thanks for
Very
watching,
nice.
Dan. And let's see, that's it for comments there. Okay, we'll get to the next question, which is going to be about the Unsealed. Let's see, Lauren, what's the latest on Unsealed? And again, thoughts. We already answered that question about Hugh Jackson. So, just what's the latest on the Unsealed and what exactly you're
Yeah,
working on right now?
as I mentioned, we have 2 writing contests right now open. One is write a letter to someone you lost about how you are honoring their life and their legacy. And another one is write a letter to someone who inspired you. Then we are also in the process of building a social network so people can share their stories and their letters and exchange letters with people who have faced similar challenges and overcome them. Then we are also in the process of writing a story about a man who is battling cancer, but he realized happiness is what can heal him. He said the chemo isn't going to cure him, his happiness will. So it's a really insightful letter. It's a really sweet letter. It's written to his child and his wife. And it just shows a very powerful and unique perspective. And I think everyone should read it because I think sometimes we take for granted our lives and everything in it. And when you're facing your mortality or you're facing such an extreme circumstances as he is facing, you get a very clear perspective about what really matters in life. And so just even working on the story with him, it made me reassess my own life, my own attitude, and the way in which I pursue life. So I think it's a letter that everyone should read. And I think it's a letter that everyone could benefit in a positive way from. I think everyone can learn to live life a little fuller and a little more grateful than maybe they have been before. And they won't let the little things in life that don't really matter stress them out, because it only takes away from the joy in our life, and we only have so much time, so we might as well be joyful each and every day.
Well, and you don't know when your time is up nowadays.
No, we
No,
saw the
so
pandemic came out of nowhere, and look what it did. So hopefully it's taught people to be very grateful and make the most of each day, and while also being safe and smart.
yeah, my approach now is just to take one day at a time, and that's it. Just one day at a
Yeah,
time.
that's a good approach. Sometimes
And
easier said than done, but definitely a good approach.
that's what I'm trying to do. And the thing is, I'm trying to do stuff that I enjoy. Like I said, the podcast I love doing. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get into radio, and I really love doing camera work and learning about the TV side of broadcasting as well. And I'm working with a lot of good people as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. So you're enjoying the journey, and that's what it really is about. It's not where this goes, it's that you're enjoying the ride.
Because I have to admit, for many years there, I wasn't enjoying the ride and I wasn't happy. And ever since I started doing all this broadcasting stuff, 2+ years ago, I find it's changed my life for in the
And you've
better.
probably connected with so many different people, which has probably added so much value and joy and insight to your life.
Well, definitely, and like you said, yourself and John Murphy of the Bills, a whole bunch of guys. I never thought I would ever be able to have on my podcast have come on my podcast, and it's just
Yeah,
amazing.
people are usually pretty nice, right? It surprises you how kind and approachable people are.
Definitely, and the Buffalo media guys have been really great as well. And like I said, I'm hoping when things get better with this pandemic to actually go back to your country again and do my sporting events, which is something I really like doing.
Yay, that would be amazing.
Definitely. So, I was gonna say before I get to the next question, how's the weather right now in Florida?
It is hot. Hot, hot, hot.
Hot.
But I was so excited because I was like, I'm going on a podcast in Toronto so I can wear a winter dress. Because I have so many winter dresses and sweater dresses from living in Buffalo and Cleveland. And I never get to wear them down here. I go to New York sometimes, but still, I never really get to wear them that often. So I was like, he's in Toronto. I can wear a sweater dress tonight. Not going
Yeah.
anywhere, so I won't be hot inside my apartment. So yeah, I was
It's a
super excited to dress in a winter dress.
Yeah, we did get some -20 days here, but now it's a balmy
Oof,
-2. -2 is
brutal,
balmy. Yeah, but you know what?
brutal.
I've lived in this climate the whole life, so I just make sure I dress warmly and stuff like that and stuff like that. But hey, it's
I don't
already
know how
February.
I never got used to the cold. Like
No, no.
I grew up in New York. I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Cleveland, and like I hated the cold. I'm used to it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just get used to it or whatever. The only thing I don't like about it is the ice. Because last week I hit a patch of ice and I skid through an intersection, and thankfully I avoided other cars, but that scared me. So it's like, yeah, if we could just get rid of the ice part of it. I don't mind driving in snow. It's the ice I don't like, the black ice.
Yeah, I do not like to drive in cold weather. I'm not really the best driver, like, period. So there's that.
Oh,
But
yeah. So okay. Let's see. The next question I wanted to ask you: what is a normal day like running your own digital business, the Unsealed, and some of the challenges you face with this?
I don't think there is such a thing as a normal day. Like every day is so different. Some days I'm writing, some days I'm interviewing, some days I'm promoting, some days I'm meeting somebody, some days I'm doing an interview. So I think it really changes every day because you wear so many hats. You know, when I was a writer and a reporter, I was either anchoring or I was out in the field doing a story reporting. It was really one or the other. So that question was a lot simpler to answer. But now, as an entrepreneur, you just wear so many different hats. That every day is different because every day you're focusing on something else. I hope you can't
And
hear my dog. My dog is like whimpering in the background, and I don't know why. So I apologize if you hear him.
oh, that's okay. No worries. If you need to take a minute to give them a
No, it's
treat or a
okay.
pet, that's fine. Okay, because some of my guests they
I'm,
bring their
I'm
dogs right
telling
on.
someone to come get him. I feel, but I just want, if you guys hear a little whimpering, we're not torturing animals over here. I don't know what he wants. He just wants to go in a different room. There we go.
No
My
worries.
family is visiting, and someone just opened the bedroom for him.
How's your family doing? Good.
They're doing well. They've been visiting. They're going to leave in a couple weeks, but it's nice to have them here for sure.
And they're from New York as well, aren't they? Originally,
Originally from New York, they live in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay, close enough. Close.
Yeah,
Yes. Hey,
yeah,
they've had some weather there too, winter weather there, snow as well.
yeah. I mean, they have. So every year it's cold in New Jersey. New Jersey, New York is it's not that different from Cleveland weather. It's a little less cold, but it's pretty cold. We get our snowstorms and snow days and cold weather as well.
Definitely. Okay. Um, I was gonna say next question I wanted to ask you is what has been your most I'm not gonna say favorite. I use this now with
Yeah,
all my guests. What's been your most memorable story and interview you've done so far on the Unsealed in your two
there are
plus years?
there are so many, and there's so many stories that are extreme and shocking and different. Um, but I honestly think my most memorable was something not as extreme, not as shocking. It was a 16-year-old girl. Her father is a member of the Unsealed, and he asked me if I would do a story with his daughter, who had she has a stutter, and we decided to write the letter to those who will meet her for the first time. And she talked about how growing up and throughout her life, and even now, people have said really mean things and hurtful things about her stutter. And she's anxiety, but then she made a nice group of friends in high school and she started to get more confidence and more courage. And she decided to run for class president, and she had to give a speech, and she gave a speech and then she won. She was class president. And I remember doing this interview and her not sounding super confident as she's telling me the story and not sounding super self-assured. And I'm thinking like, this is amazing. Like, this is incredible. And I wrote the letter and then we published it and she loved it. And it went viral in her community. And people wrote, I'm going to share this with my son. I'm going to share this with my daughter. I'm going to share this with my family. It was a lesson about kindness. And after the story, about 6 months later, I got a message from her father. And he said to me, Lauren, I have a different child. my daughter is more confident than she's ever been. She's more self-assured. She doesn't let things bother her as much. Because I knew when we had a child with a stutter that there would be challenges. And I knew that the mental challenges and the mental hurdles would be harder than the physical ones. And I knew there would be no quick fix. He goes, but then you happened. And it was in a moment, her confidence went through the roof. And to have such a clear and profound impact on a child's life, that was really special to me and really memorable. And I felt it even through the process that she was almost realizing in real time her own strength and her own power. She was like, oh yeah, I am strong. Oh yeah, that is pretty badass that I did that. And to see somebody start to see their own power and their own strength in real time and then see it play out over the next several years. Now it's been 2 years since we've done this letter. It was just really special to me. It's one of my most memorable moments. It's one of my most memorable interviews, just because I think of the impact it had on her and how much she didn't realize that her secret was her superpower. That's something we say a lot at the Unsealed. We turn secrets into superpowers. So yeah, that was really memorable.
Okay, and like I said, I used to use the word favorite, and to me, too many of my guests were just telling me, I just figured most memorable is a better word than favorite, because when you do a lot of stories and interviews over the years, you might not really have one favorite. You enjoy them all.
I usually like my favorite story is usually the last one I did because I'm still like on a high from that story. I'm excited about it. Like I get so excited about every story that usually my favorite one is the most recent one. But my most memorable, that was a very memorable moment and a very memorable story because of the impact, because it was someone so young, because it was somebody who didn't see how special and how courageous and how strong she was and how her accomplishments were meaningful and inspirational. And to see her start to realize that and how it affected her and how it allowed her to come out of her shell even more was just very special.
That's a great feeling that you had an impact on this young girl.
Yes, definitely. And it just was very meaningful to me and the company and kind of solidified that I'm on the right path.
And that leads me to my next question I was going to ask you. And that's basically, what keeps you motivated each day with the Unsealed?
I love it. I love the stories. I love the people. I love that I inspire people. I think the stories keep me motivated, and to see their impact on people is really special. I mean, we had somebody tell us that that because of a story they read on the Unsealed, they put a gun down that they had in their hand to kill themselves, and it saved their life. Another person told me that she was a foster child, and she said, for the first time in my life, I feel seen. So these moments and these stories and these people who have been profoundly impacted by the work, they motivate me. They motivate me to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep fighting, to keep trying to grow, and to not get discouraged. Because it is hard being an entrepreneur, and it is hard starting something on your own and not really knowing where it's going to go, what's going to happen, whether or not you're making the right decisions. It's a very unsettling feeling, but it's just kind of like got to fight through it.
And I have to admit too, Lauren, some days I get down when I get rejected, or I'm having trouble getting guests on just because of the schedule wise, and I sometimes get down and think maybe I'm too old for this, but then I just go and do something I enjoy, and then I'm like, no, this is something I'm not giving up on this.
We all just got to keep fighting, keep pushing. That's how we're supposed to live life, is chasing the things we want. Life is never supposed to be easy, or we're never going to coast through life. At every moment we're going to be chasing and fighting for something. So why give up on anything?
Yeah, and I think also too, working the midnight shifts too, I don't always get enough sleep, and I think people sleep does affect your mental health as well if you don't
Yeah,
get enough
definitely.
of it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely,
So what
for
I'm
sure.
trying to do now is, if I'm really extremely tired, I'll just take a break from social media and the computer and just try to get some rest. And then you recharge your batteries, and then you feel so much better.
Yeah, definitely. I actually have to exercise every once in a while to reset, recharge, remotivate myself. It just really helps me kind of bring myself to an even level. Like if I start to get stressed and I start to feel this or anxious here, it just brings me right down, and I can kind of reset, recharge, and then go back at it. So my thing is that.
And I was just going to say, and I'm glad to be a member of the Unsealed, and you were kind
Thank
enough to
you for
share.
being a member of the Unsealed. I appreciate that.
Well, and thank you for sharing my story too. When when did we reconnect? About a year ago?
I'm not sure, but I'm
Wow.
glad we did.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, and that's what I'm trying to do is use my story and other people's stories as motivation to keep going.
You get that, and that's what it's all about. Use your story as a testimonial to inspire someone else, and use other people's stories as a reminder that you got to keep pushing and fighting.
Okay. I just got 2 more questions I wanted to ask you, Lauren. Are you okay for a few more minutes?
Of course.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I really didn't know what to do with myself yesterday. First Sunday with no football since August.
It was weird, right?
Yeah.
It's weird too,
thank
because usually like this weekend would have been Super Bowl weekend. Like usually it's like the first weekend in February.
and they pushed it back. I think in the next 5 years, the Super Bowl will be the beginning of March. I think
Wow.
eventually I think they're going to try to eventually keep the season going until March
Maybe. Definitely.
because of the money. But I'm
Yeah.
lucky. I'm also lucky in Canada because the CFL starts up in May, so I really only have to wait a couple more months, and then I'll have my football. I'll have my football fixed with the CFL starting up, and then the NFL will start up in July. So, and then college football. So
that's awesome. Perfect.
Definitely. Okay. Anyways, this question I wanted to ask you: can you tell my audience a little bit about your motivational speaking that you do as well, and how long have you been a motivational speaker for?
Since I started the Unsealed, I've been doing it, and I tell people my story. I'm a sexual assault survivor, and that was part of my motivation to starting the Unsealed. I wrote an open letter about my assault, and it went viral across the country, and it really empowered me and freed me. So I share my story about how I dealt with that and how I turned what was the most painful thing in my life or most scariest thing in my life into something beautiful like the Unsealed, and something that hopefully will help other people. And then I also share stories of other people who are resilient and overcome adversity. So I call the speech "How to Turn Secrets into Superpowers," and it's a lesson on resilience. And I speak at schools, organizations, all different places, and I really love it.
What's the biggest audience you've spoken at so far?
Spoken at a lot of schools, and they have like an auditorium filled with kids. So I don't know how many people are in there. 500? I don't know.
Do you ever get nervous before, or are you just kind of do you do something to relax before you speak?
I don't really do anything except prepare. I come very, very prepared, so that helps calm my nerves. I think maybe for my first one, I was nervous because I had never done it before, and I didn't think I liked public speaking. But then once I started doing them, once I got through the first one, I wasn't really that nervous, and I just really loved it. I actually never thought I would like public speaking, even though I was a broadcaster. I thought a live audience would be so uncomfortable, but I ended up really loving it, and I ended up really feeling very connected to people through it, and coming prepared and showing up prepared, knowing the speech really well. That helps to avoid being nervous. If you're not prepared, it's horrifying.
And I was going to say, where have you gone in the States? Just Florida and New York, or have you gone across the
I've done
country?
New Jersey, New York, California. I think we did one in Virginia, or some of them are virtual now, so I don't always know exactly. I don't always remember. I think one was North Carolina or Virginia. We've done several in Ohio, so all over the place.
Well, hopefully one day you'll be able to do Canada as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would definitely be awesome.
But probably in the summertime when it's a lot hotter and humid here.
I do not like going into the cold. I told my mom yesterday, I'm like, I never feel like leaving Florida. Like I'm good. I like the beach. I work out by the beach. I like being here. So
well, this is how cold it was here last week. I left a bottle of water in my car overnight at work, and in the morning it was completely frozen solid. That's how cold it was.
Those days. I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Cleveland. I know what it's like. It's definitely it definitely is cold and snowy. And I used to say, like, I'm going to the beach. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm moving to the beach. And the longer I lived in cold weather, the more I assured myself that I would eventually live in a warm climate.
And Florida is one place I haven't been since I was a baby in the
Oh,
'70s. So
really? It's
I'd
beautiful.
like to I'd like to visit Florida again. Hopefully, when the restrictions loosen up, because
Yeah.
right now you have to do all these testing to go over and come back to Canada. And I'm just hopefully the restrictions will get loosened up this summer, and I'll be able to. I would like to come to Florida again.
Hopefully, we're coming down the home stretch of all this. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
I agree because it's been 2 years now. So.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last question is more of a fun type question for you. What are some of your hobbies, favorite music, and restaurants you like in Florida? And where can my audience again find you on the internet and on social media?
Okay, so let's do favorite music. I always was a big India Arie fan. I found her songs very calming and soothing, but also empowering and thoughtful. So I was a big India Arie fan. India Arie, John Legend. I'd say probably I like those two a lot. Um, then your next question, what do I do for hobbies? I'm a big workout person. I love to work out. I love to rollerblade, and I also just love spending time with my family. I'm really close to my parents, and we do dinner a lot, and we watch movies. That's a big thing. My dad likes to watch movies, so that's a big one too. And I obviously like to write. So music, hobbies. What was the other one? Oh, my favorite
Uh,
restaurant.
yes.
My favorite restaurant. Hmm. No, I haven't gone to a lot of restaurants because of the pandemic, but I like seafood restaurants a lot and I like sushi a lot. What is my favorite? There's a restaurant both in Miami and Fort Lauderdale called Lobster Bar and Grill. It's a little expensive, but the fish is so good. So it's like a treat out anytime I get to go there. So that's probably one of my favorites. And then where can people find the Unsealed?
Yes. And
Unsealed.com. THEUNSEALED.com. Theunsealed.com. So check it out. And then my Instagram is Lord.Brill, BRILL. I think you have my Twitter there, _Lauren Brill. And then you can also connect to the Unsealed social media channels through my personal media channel. So check it out, theunsealed.com. And my name is Lauren Brill. So you can Google Lauren Brill and find all sorts of social media stuff and the Unsealed as well.
okay, definitely. And I was gonna say, hey, before you, when you were doing sports anchoring and reporting, did you ever actually get to go to a Super Bowl and cover it live?
So I used to go to the Super Bowls network. So I would go to the events and all that stuff, but I never was going to cover the Super Bowl. So I never got a chance to cover the Super Bowl now.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you about that because that would be something special being able to go
Yeah,
to a Super Bowl game. So
Super Bowl, yeah, for sure.
definitely. I was gonna say, Lauren, thank you so much again for coming on live with CDP podcast, and
Yeah.
I will have to send you out one of my podcast t-shirts.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I love coming on with you.
Okay, well, you have a great night, Lauren, and we'll keep in touch on social media then.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thanks, Lauren. Have a good night.
Good night, and good night to all your viewers.
Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast tonight with Lauren Brill. She's the founder and CEO of The Unsealed, and you can check out her website, theunsealed.com. And you can also follow her on social media on Instagram and Twitter at the same handle at _Lauren Brill as well. So, yeah, I really appreciate Lauren coming on. And this was her second time coming on my podcast. Just to let you guys know, let's see. My next live with CDP podcast is going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 8th at 5 o'clock. Guest is going to be Ken Bradley, senior editor for The Athletic, the NFL, who covers the Dallas Cowboys, the Rams, Ravens, and Panthers. He's going to talk to me about his career with The Athletic, covering those four teams, and maybe talk a little bit about Super Bowl 56 between the Rams and Bengals. And I will give my predictions for that Super Bowl 56 tomorrow night as well. And yeah, I'm going to just put on a little clip of the this clip is courtesy of the NFL. Just a preview of Super Bowl 56 between the Rams and Bengals. Just 1 second. Again, it's courtesy of the NFL.
McPherson And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
But it will be a home game for the other team. Back-to-back years, a home squad will play at home in the big dance.
Garoppolo under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
Snoop, Dre, M, etc. may be performing at half, but maybe they should have gotten Queen to join in because pressure could very well dictate who wins the big one this year.
Hey, big boy, I told you no.
Rams defense, Bengals offense. Bengals fortunes rest with Joe Burrow most games. Nothing mysterious there. Had a great regular season.
You keep making those plays, I'm just going to throw it up to you every time. Easy, bro. I got like 450 or something. Whoa.
But what makes him especially dangerous to deal with heading into this game, his versatility. Stay with me here. Jamar Chase has had quiet games. That was somewhat the case against the Chiefs. He made an impact, but not a holy Chase game.
There it is to the end zone, and he cuts down with it. Outrageous. What a catch. Chase, one-on-one. Forget about it.
He faced several double teams and the Chiefs' top corner, who is good, but not Jalen good. Ramsey versus Chase, key Super Bowl matchup number 1 to watch.
Great defense, but you can make a play on it. You know what I mean? Like play on it. We got to finish this game. All right? For real, for real.
If Ramsey can erase or partially erase Chase, it tees things up for Higgins. Remember, he was over 1,000 yards as the number 2 this season, over 100 yards in their championship win.
They go way down the field, and it's there, Tony, at the 40. It's Higgins. Sneed riding with him all the way to the 38.
We warned everyone in our last Cincy preview. The Bengals are far from a one-man passing show. Higgins and Tyler Boyd allow them to adapt. They were down 21-3 as the half was winding down against Kansas City. They went to a quick pass approach in the second half. Joe Cool 2.0 may have finished the game under 7 yards per attempt, but he went 14 for 19 with 2 TDs for the game on quick throws.
Pass across the middle. Higgins trying to buy some room. He's got the first down and a whole lot more. Picked up an extra 10 or 11 yards once he turned it upfield.
That quick pass approach may be vital against the Rams, and that's because there would appear to be a massive mismatch in the trenches. Burrow was the most sacked QB in football.
In trouble, spins free. Sack! Sack! Sack!
That porous Bengals O-line now lines up against LA's three-headed sack dragon that helped LA.
Anyways, guys, that clip was courtesy of the NFL. So I'm definitely going to talk a little more about the Super Bowl 56 tomorrow with Ken Bradley from The Athletic and see what his prediction is on that Super Bowl. I think that's one of the keys in that Super Bowl tomorrow is the Rams' great front four against the Bengals offensive line. The game against the Chiefs, I only believe Joe Burrow was sacked once. So I think a key in that game is going to be Cincinnati's offensive line. Can they contain Von Miller and Aaron Donald and the Rams' great front four? So if Joe Burrow has time to pass or to move out of the pocket, Cincinnati has a great chance to win this game. But if Joe Burrow is under pressure all day and gets hit and sacked, it could be a long day for the Bengals. So we'll see. That's going to be the key. One of the keys is the O-line of Cincinnati's against the Rams front four. So anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you to everybody watching my podcast tonight on Facebook Live, on Twitter, and on my YouTube channel. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And let's see, guys. I'm just going to wrap this up shortly. Just 1 second. Live with CDP podcasts. The audio version is downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn. So if you'd rather listen to the audio version, those are the sites to go to, or YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. You can watch this live as well. And you can also, guys, check me out on TikTok at Live with CDP. At Live with CDP on TikTok as well. And let's see, I got some other sports news to talk about. And let's see. The Houston Texans today are expected to hire former Chicago Bears head coach Lovie Smith as their next head coaches, sources told ESPN's Adam Scheffler and Phil Yates on Monday. Smith was the Texans' associated head coach and defensive coordinator this past season. So that is interesting as well. And let's see some other news too. The New Orleans Saints, this is from ESPN. The New Orleans Saints have informed defensive coordinator Dennis Allen that they are hiring him as their next head coaches. Sources have told ESPN's Adam Scheffler on Monday. Allen, 49, will replace his longtime boss, Sean Payton, who has stepped away 2 weeks ago as the Saints head coach. But I suspect Sean Payton would be coaching again by 2023 as well. So we'll see what happens there. And also, guys, a little more football news. Kickoff for Super Bowl 56 is at 6:30 this Sunday nights. Caesars Sportsbook lists the Rams as 4.5-point favorites, while the over-under, or total number of points, Vegas thinks will be scored is 48.5 points in the latest versus Rams Bengals odds. So please also check out CoolBet Canada, where my friend Pat Gregor is the social media manager with CoolBet Canada as well. And before I wrap this up, guys, Guelph Storm are at Sarnia Wednesday night, February 9th, home to Flint on February 11th. So I'll be doing camera work for Rogers TV. And Saturday, February 12th at Saginaw. The Storm are currently tied for 5th in the Western Conference, but the Storm have only won 2 out of their last 11 games. And right now they're in a dogfight for the number 5 seed in the Western Conference with Owen Sound. They're tied with Owen Sound for 5th with 41 points. Guelph does have 2 games in hand, but Guelph has dropped a lot from just before Christmas time. Guelph was number 1 in the Western Conference, and now they've dropped to number 5, and they could possibly drop the 6th seed by the end of this week. So they've got 3 tough opponents this week in Sarnia on Wednesday on the road, home to Flint on Friday at the Sleeman Center, and then Saturday they have to travel to Saginaw, Michigan to take on the Spirits as well. And that's about it, guys. Again, I want to say thank you to my guest, Lauren Brill, one of my friends, for coming on my podcast for a second time in the last 7 months. Please check out her website, The Unsealed, or you can check her out on Instagram and Twitter as well. But she does really good work with The Unsealed, and I'm a member of her Unsealed website as well. So, and again, guys, the next Live with CDP podcast is going to be tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Guest Ken Bradley, senior editor for The Athletic. He covers the Cowboys, Rams, Ravens, and Panthers. We'll talk a little bit about those teams and Super Bowl 56. And Saturday, February 12th at 12 o'clock approximately, Stu Boyer from formerly of WGRZ Channel 2 in Buffalo is going to come on Saturday around noontime to talk about the 2021 Buffalo Bills season and what they need to do in the offseason with the draft and free agency to make the Bills into a Super Bowl team in 2022, and get Stu's thoughts on Super Bowl 56 matchup as well. So again, guys, thank you everyone for watching live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Thank you to Lauren Brill, my guest, for coming on again and talking about The Unsealed as well. And I hope you guys can all tune in to tomorrow night's podcast show with Ken Bradley. If there's a time change, I will let you guys know because it is Super Bowl week. And I know Ken's going to be a little extra busy this week writing stories for the Super Bowl 56. So we'll cross our fingers he can come on at 5 o'clock. But any time changes, I will let you know. So, all right, guys, have a great night. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 5 o'clock for Season 3, Episode 2 of Live with CDP podcast. Have a good night, guys. And again, thanks for watching and listening to Live with CDP.